If you're looking for simple nourishment and meal inspiration, welcome to my kitchen. You're in the right place. Let's get cooking. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I am a recent cancer survivor, and thank you for joining me along with my journey. And I am sharing tips on health and wellness of how I am continuing to stay healthy. Today I will welcome you into my kitchen to show you exactly what I eat in a day to focus on whole, nourishing foods as a cancer survivor and thriver. And stick around for the end because I'm also going to share one of my favorite seasonal fall recipes as well. So I've always tried to eat healthy, but I would say that the big difference between before cancer and now is I used to eat healthy because I wanted to maintain my looks and my figure. Now I eat healthy because I want to make sure that I'm getting the right nutrients to make me feel as good as possible while also looking good. I keep it really simple. I focus on high protein foods and I make sure that my foods are whole and organic. So first thing in the morning, I make sure that I'm hydrating, and I like to drink a full glass of water while I'm taking my meds. And then I like to start my day with matcha. I used to be a coffee girl, but I have jumped on the matcha trend. The main reason for this is it gives me a steady boost of energy without the jitters, and it's also packed in antioxidants, which is amazing. I really like to whisk it up with almond milk, and I make sure that I use almond milk because it's clean. I've really started to notice ingredients on the back of food labels, and this is so important. And I also add a little honey, a little vanilla extract, and cinnamon to my matcha because I don't like my matcha tasting like grass. Mid-morning, I love to have a mug of bone broth. It's high in protein, it's gut soothing, and it has the collagen that I need to grow my hair back. For lunch, I like to keep it simple but powerful. Sometimes I like to have breakfast for lunch because this is technically my first meal of the day because I do intermittent fasting other than my matcha and my bone broth. But I love the combination of eggs as well as some avocado, and sometimes I'll do a nice little side salad of arugula as well as tomatoes. The one thing I've discovered that if you're cooking eggs, you want to make sure that they are a little runny on the inside because the way you absorb these nutrients and the collagen in the eggs, it just absorbs in your body a little bit better. And the same goes for tomatoes. Tomatoes are healthy, they're packed with antioxidants and lycopenes, but if you cook them over the stove for just a little bit, it opens up and it locks even more nutrients. So this lunch combo is packed with protein and then also healthy fats, so it keeps you full until dinner. For dinner, I love to keep it light and satisfying. I absolutely love seafood, so I cook fish often. I love cooking sea bass, salmon, cod, and then just a side of fresh seasoned veggies. And sometimes I'll even add a sweet potato in there, but usually just the seafood as well as the veggies is filling for me. It's also really important for me to make sure that I meal plan and prep ahead so I don't feel tempted to eat something processed or something that might not be as good for me. So I'm going to show you one of my seasonal favorite recipes and how to make some pumpkin spiced muffins. We've got some cooling here in the background, but they're great to freeze and they're absolutely delicious. It's officially fall, y'all. I never get to experience the fall-like weather living in Miami, but I do love to cook seasonally and incorporate fall-like flavor into my everyday cooking. So today I'm gonna make some high-protein pumpkin spiced muffins, and we're gonna use all natural ingredients. We're gonna also use almond flour instead of bleached flour, and it's a really simple, really easy recipe. And this is a great recipe, especially if you're just cooking for one like me, because you can freeze these and pull these out and eat them throughout the week or throughout the whole month. So it's great. When I cook or bake anything specifically, I really like to make sure I pull out all of my ingredients so I have them in front of me. And I have made the mistake where if I haven't done this, I've actually missed an ingredient. And one time I actually added, I think it was like paprika instead of cinnamon to like banana muffins, because the bottles look the same. So to prevent adding paprika instead of like cinnamon or nutmeg, I pull out all the ingredients ahead of time. And so that way I feel like I'm prepared and ready to just mix everything and make something delicious. So this recipe actually calls for 2 eggs, but I'm gonna add 3 because I want to add a little extra protein. And I always do get whole milk cottage cheese now instead of, reduced fat. I really am not scared of fats anymore, and there's just tends to be less additives overall if you go with the good stuff. So this recipe calls for half a cup of cottage cheese. I'm actually adding closer to a full cup because, again, I want to add more protein to this recipe. It's also going to add a little bit more moisture to the muffins overall. Sometimes the recipe tells you to mix all of the wet ingredients and then all of the dry ingredients into a separate bowl and to mix in, but what I really do is just use one bowl, and I do all the wet ingredients first, mix them, and then add the dry. That way I don't have to dirty an extra dish. Keep it simple. Gonna need some more maple syrup. As I use my ingredients, I also like to just put them away as I go. So I also don't risk accidentally doubling the ingredients, because sometimes my memory is, did I add the vanilla extract or didn't I? So it just helps with easy cleanup as well. A little baking powder. I also take a look at the recipe and see what they recommend. Like, they were calling for 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder. I usually just take a tablespoon and then kind of eyeball it. So I'm not super exact on the measurements, and this won't mess up your meal. It just makes it a little quicker and a little more fun to make. Salt. Now this recipe calls for nutmeg, which I actually do not have in my pantry currently, so I am using allspice. Or you could also use clove, cinnamon, because they're not going to be pumpkin spiced muffins without that spice. And this recipe also calls for pumpkin seeds, but I don't have any currently on hand, so I'm just gonna crush up a few walnuts and throw some walnuts in there as well. Walnuts are super heart healthy and just great for getting your omega-3s in. I just crush them in my hands. I don't do anything fancy. I don't like my muffins being a little too nutty, so I just add a few. These are also pretty high in calories, so you really don't need a lot to get the benefits of the walnuts. This recipe should make 2 dozen, but sometimes I get a little bit more out of the recipe and it becomes like a baker's dozen. I really like to use these silicone pans as well. And then I don't use any of those sprays. I just like to, prep them with just regular classic butter, and I use unsalted butter. So I preheated my oven to 350 degrees and it's ready now. It's getting a little hot in the kitchen, or I'm having a hot flash. I don't know which one, but we are ready to bake our pumpkin spice, high protein, cottage cheese muffins. So I must have eyeballed the ingredients just right because they made exactly a dozen versus my normal baker's dozen. So we're gonna throw these in the oven for about 20 minutes. We'll check them around 15 minutes just to make sure they're cooking through, and then we'll let them cool. Alexa, set the timer for 15 minutes.
Good afternoon, Ashley. 15 minutes, starting now.
All right, time to check to see if these pumpkin muffins are ready. Definitely gonna give them 5 more minutes. It's time for the taste test. Let's see how these turned out. That's good. That's real good. And that's my day on a plate. Whole foods that I know are nourishing with a focus of high protein at every meal. And then if I am in the mood for a snack, I make sure that I do have something prepared ahead of time so it's easy for me to stay on course and not pick up something that might be processed. Eating this way makes me feel strong, energized, and balanced. I hope this inspires you with some ideas for your own meals and how to just plan ahead to eat healthy. If you have any questions about any of the recipes, I do have a link in my bio to the pumpkin spiced cottage cheese high protein muffins that I made. They're absolutely wonderful. Drop me a line and feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this. Stay nourished, my friends.